going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Oregon football.
It's about them going on the field and getting better.
He's gone. He's gone. See you later. Touchdown, Ducks.
We're going to play with relentless effort. We want to attack the ball at a high level.
Pressure comes. They got him again.
And I want to see those guys playing for each other.
Gives it to James again, and he may go all the way. Goes it down the middle. There's Pez Johnson. Why not just score?
These guys come to work, man. They're wired the right way. Always about hearing the message, not the tone.
There's no place like Oregon. We do it different. We're growth mindset oriented and just great people.
This is the Oregon Football Coaches Show on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Today's broadcast is also brought to you by Country Financial Insurance, protect what matters, and by Pepsi and Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks! Drink Pepsi. Now let's go to the Country Financial Studios and talk Oregon Duck football.
Let's do it for week number 3. Welcome into the show, Toyota Coaches Show. Jerry Alabajorgi and the coaches here to start it all off for us, week number 3. I wish you could have been here before because we're talking movies and actors and all the fun stuff, the stuff that you don't get a chance to really enjoy when football season's going on, right?
Yeah, no time for enjoyment right now.
No, come on. There's got to be a little bit in there. Week 3 coming up, another win, 2-0. You look at that, you take a hold of that, you put it in your pocket, and you move forward. I know you move forward, your team does move forward. But this is a rivalry week, so it's not hard to look forward, is it?
No, this is a game you get excited for, right? And I think this is what college football is about. Getting a chance to play an in-state rival is always exciting.
On the subject of rivalries, and you got this one right here, so let's remove this one from it. Best rivalry you've been part of? High school, college?
Oh, man, Richmond, Missouri versus the Lexington. I mean, that's the
Really?
the Minutemen versus the Spartans. That's a good rivalry. Outside of that, I mean, I've been a part of some really good ones. I've done Pitt in West Virginia, backyard brawl. I've done Arizona State when I was there. I've done Alabama, Auburn. So I've got to be a part of a lot of great ones. Georgia, Florida. So I don't know. Richmond Spartans versus the Lexington Minutemen. That's the bell game.
Yeah.
That's the bell game. That's a strong game.
Okay. How old were you when that was the game?
I mean, yeah, that was it was every year of high school, right?
Okay,
So freshman,
right.
sophomore, junior,
So
senior year.
It just seemed to be bigger than life when you're that age, didn't it?
We beat them every year.
Oh,
so it wasn't that big, but it was. I mean, that was an important one.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna look ahead. We'll look back a little bit too. But something we didn't do, I think, when the season started. You added a new coach this year, running backs coach Rashad Samples.
Yeah.
I want to have you talk about him a little bit and how that came about.
Yeah, Will Stein, Drew Maringer, a couple of our coaches on staff had actually worked with him before at Texas. Drew had actually recruited him, got a chance to coach him, and then work with him at Houston as well. And just a very intelligent young coach that you could tell was doing things the right way. And you get on the phone with him and spend some time and interview and just talk through, realize he's like-minded, has a lot of the similar goals to what you have, and thought he could impact our team in a really special way, and he's done a great job so far.
You got 2 weeks into the season. What do you feel like you've learned so far about your team 2 weeks into the season?
Well, a lot. One, we're resilient, and 2, we got a lot to things that we can get better at. So what I do appreciate about our guys is they're not afraid of hard work, and when you point it out to them, they want to see it and they want to attack it.
What's been the focus of this week? Getting better, obviously, but what do you look at? What do you talk about? What do you look for in this week?
Yeah, I think offensively it's relatively simple, eliminating negatives, right? Whether that's penalties, holding call or a TFL, one of those things, like eliminate negative plays. And I know that seems really simple, but that's really the reality. When we had negative plays, we really hurt our chance of scoring on scoring drives. Yeah. When we didn't, we'd move the ball really well and have success. Defensively, I think it's comes back to eliminating explosive plays. We took a lot of ball shots at the ball, and I'm proud of actually the effort to get that. We had a lot of ball deflections, but we didn't intercept the ball. So find a way to take the ball away and eliminating some of those explosive plays, I think will make us a lot better. And then special teams, just some of our coverage units, I think we can improve as well. Had penalties there as well that we need to attack.
Thought last week your defense against Genty -1, and you can't pull that one long run away, but -1 run, I thought your defense.
I hate when people are like, "Well, we were really good except for this," but it all counts.
That's why I hate to ask the question.
We weren't good.
Yeah.
We weren't good enough in that category. But that's okay. That you can see what really good looks like, and you can see what really bad looks like.
Yeah.
And you know what? Just what people have to do is accept the truth. The truth is, some was good, Some was bad, but it doesn't mean how. I'm not a glass half full guy when it comes to football. You do it right or you didn't. Some of it we did right, some we didn't. So excited to get better. What I would say.
Not trying to rationalize the good and the bad. It is what it is.
Look, the truth is the truth, right? Guys are really good back.
No doubt.
And we tackled them pretty well majority of the night. Right before half, did a really poor job tackling him on one drive. And then he hit a really big, long one there on the 70-yard gain after the turnover and made it a game that it didn't need to be. And that's stuff that we can improve. We'll get better at it.
We already talked about this being a rivalry game, but it's an early rivalry game. Normally, this is when you build up to and the fans build up to end of the season. You just finished a big turkey dinner. You're feeling good about yourself. Is there anything different preparing for a rivalry week? Is this early in the season than maybe late in the season?
No, I don't think so. I mean, regardless of what team it is and who you're playing, your prep is relatively similar, right? The one thing that's a little bit different is there's a new coaching staff over there.
Yeah.
In some ways, obviously Trent was there, but some newer coaches. So there's maybe not as much film quite to dig through, and you got to compare and contrast a little bit of what they've done in the past there, maybe a little bit of what UCLA has done, some other teams, just because of where some of their staffs come from.
How early on did you meet and get to know Trent Bray? I mean, you probably have crossed paths sometime during your career other than when he was at Oregon State.
Yeah, that's how I'd probably describe it. As I'm very familiar with him and what he's done. Watched him defensively and some of his success, but I don't know that we've never worked hand in hand, and I don't know that we've really ever crossed paths until I got here at Oregon and he was at Oregon State. So, got a lot of respect for him. The job he's done, I think he's no nonsense, really sound. Creates issues for the opponent and does a really good job. So he's a fun one to compete against.
So little similarities there. You were a defensive coordinator, became a head coach. He was a defensive coordinator, moved up to a head coach. Any little tips you want to give him?
No, not yet. No, we'll wait.
We'll talk about your offense a little bit. It felt like last week you were making some gains, particularly coming out in that second half. Third quarter, figured a little something out, and things started to smooth out. A couple of turnovers, and it changed the complexion of the ball game. Trying to fine-tune that offense, and we're talking primarily the offensive line because that's what everybody's focusing on. Do you feel like you're getting close to that? Did you see some things in that game last week that made you feel like, okay, we're getting there?
Some good, some bad. I know what we're capable of. I think we have an unbelievable offensive staff. I think we have some really good players. It's about becoming one unit, right? And when one person's out of sync, hurts the whole unit. Yeah. So I think there's glimpses of what we can be, but we're not that yet. So how quick can we get there? That's the question.
It's been a long time since I've seen a game of momentum like that. I mean, back and forth and back and forth. They would answer, you would answer, you would answer again. How do you keep the guys focused when it sways back and forth so much on the sideline? And besides coaches, players are pretty involved in that too, I'm sure.
Yeah, just living in the moment, right? I talked to the team right before the game started about pay attention to your attention. Like, where's your focus, right? Pay attention to your attention. And really, that's the thought process of right now, can you be in the moment that you're in right now? And I know that certainly was my focus throughout the game. We get to defense is off the field, offense is on, or special teams on. Like, man, I'm on this play. This is where I'm at. And trying to pay attention to that moment. We try to challenge our players to do the same thing.
And really focus ahead. Don't look back at what just happened. Let it go.
Yeah, there's a reason the windshield's bigger than the rearview mirror, right?
I love that. Our Pepsi coaches interview, got to remember that. In our Country Financial studios, we're going to take the break, come back on our Toyota Coaches show, and look ahead a little bit. Oregon State, maybe a little bit the defense and where the defense is, and bring up some names as well. All live right here on the Coaches Show on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear summer vacay, load up on fun in a new Toyota. Go off-road in the 4Runner, haul it all in the Tundra, play hard in the Tacoma, or take the scenic route in the all-new all-hybrid Camry. Visit Toyota.com for more info. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear summer vacay, load up on fun in a new Toyota. Go off-road in the 4Runner, haul it all in the Tundra, play hard in the Tacoma, or take the scenic route in the all-new all-hybrid Camry. Visit Toyota.com for more info. Toyota, let's go places.
There's more Duck football around the corner.
Got him deep. He's open. He's got it. He's gone. 10-5. Touchdown, Oregon.
60 seconds away on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
When we learn the power of hope, recovery is possible. Find out how at startwithhope.com. Brought to you by the National Council for Mental Wellbeing, Shatterproof, and the Ad Council.
Put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back into our Country Financial Studio. Jerry Allen, Jorgie, and head coach Dan Lanning. We're talking Toyota Coaches Show, and we're going to jumping back and forth. Offense, Dillon Gabriel, 18 to 21, 243, a couple of touchdowns. Those kind of numbers kind of speak for themselves. But as you view him, I mean, he did a lot good, but there's always things you want to work on. But kind of break down his performance so far in the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of positives, and then there's a lot of places for growth, you know, and been really open with Dillon on the things I think he can improve. But I think what's great about Dillon is he would tell you, hey, this is something I can go attack. And I saw some of that show up today in practice. You know, but ultimately we did have the poor snap exchange that led to a turnover. I thought he's done a good job of continuing to take care of the ball, not put it in dangerous situations, take completions when they're there. I think he's getting better at operating a lot of the system, and I think that'll continue to grow. I think he has to challenge himself in the pocket to avoid some of the pressure that we're getting and be able to handle that, but I know that he'll attack that. This guy's such a pro. He's a competitor on the field. You know, he has answers, and once the answers he doesn't have, he wants to know them. So I love that about him.
He made some great throws to Evan Stewart. And Evan Stewart stepped to the table and talk about what that does for a guy's growth like that and confidence.
Well, Dillon, you know, I think he did a great job of saying when there's an explosive play out there, taking advantage of it. I mean, he threw a hot pressure into a blitz that turned Trayshawn to turn into a big touchdown, was able to connect early with Evan. So, yeah, you said the ball was bounced around like a ping pong on the field at times, it just creating explosive plays. So made that really exciting for our team. And, again, I think that you can build off of some of that momentum.
What does it say about your receiver room and the defense trying to guard? I mean, they take Tez out of the game a little bit, you know, cover him, and Evan steps up. And then there's Trayshawn, and you've got more weapons too. Talk about that receiver room and the depth of it. There's some guys we're really not even seeing yet.
Yeah, I think it's always important that teams, you know, can't make you play left-handed, right? And when you have multiple options at certain positions, I think it makes it really hard to take an option away. If you take away one wide out and we have somebody else we can lean on, we want to be able to take advantage of that. And we want that with our running game. We want that with our tight ends. We want that on both sides of the ball. So that's something we're always looking for.
The advantages of having an offensive lineman that can play multiple positions obviously is a huge advantage for you guys. But also talk about the challenges for a guy like Poncho who plays center, plays guard, the different challenges of switching from one to another.
Yeah, I've been a part of a lot of staffs where, you know, I've been on both ends where you don't try guys at multiple spots. And then what happens is you have maybe somebody gets injured and somebody that's not ready at that level comes in to be the next guy, and you don't necessarily have your best 11 on the field. I've been to a lot of places where they do a great job of rotating those guys throughout the week of practice on the practice field, so you know that you can always make sure you have your best 11. But what's that take? It takes a lot of discipline and hard work, you know, from that group, and you got to have guys that do extra work when it comes to snapping the ball, do extra work at a guard position or a left guard, and you have to chart it throughout the week to expect somebody to be able to perform a certain way on game day. They have to get, you know, quality reps throughout the week at those positions. But since I've been here, that's been something we really challenged ourselves to do. JPJ's been a guy that's played multiple guard positions, center position. You know, played center for us all year. Now he's playing guard in the NFL. You know, same thing. Ryan Walk's a guy that can play center, guard, Alex Forsythe, same thing. So we've always had some position versatility with those guys, and this year's no different. And I think that continues to make it to where you can play your best 11. We love to settle in and say, okay, here's the guys that are going to be really comfortable playing. Absolutely. And at some point that'll happen once we get in a rhythm.
But you do that in practice. I mean, when you practice, you guys practice a lot of reps, and everybody plays. I mean, it's not like you got the ones and twos and everybody else kind of working out, getting healthy or staying in shape. You mix it up a lot. So a lot of the young guys, the guys we don't see early in the season, are getting reps so they're ready to go.
Yeah, I mean that's the only way you develop, right? There's one thing to go out there and just play games, right, and just take what you have from a talent standpoint and expect that to be the best that you'll ever be. And then there's another thing to develop talent, and developing talent means that you have to continue to practice and challenge guys in different ways.
Bryce Betcher continues to make plays. Derek Harmon, disruptive in the middle. Talk about those guys, if you would.
Jalapeno poppers right there, man. Both those guys are exciting. They're tough, on the field. They play with great explosion, effort. They get to the ball, and they get there quick. I'm excited about their growth, excited about how hungry they are to get better. Both those guys, you can ask them, what do you need to improve on, and they'll be the first ones to tell you. And that's what I appreciated, what they bring to the table. And I think both of them would also tell you they don't make any of those plays if it isn't for the people around them, which is exactly what we want.
Brandon Johnson's another one of those guys last week that really just was everywhere. You bring him in to do what he does. What's special about him?
Well, I'll say the shoestring tackle there on the blitz, we went pretty aggressive, and that out route for him to be able – it ended up being a completion and a first down, and most fans are going to look at that and be disappointed. I was very excited that he was able to clip that guy's heel, but to come back later on a third down, out-breaking route to him, be able to defend it so well after a motion across the ball, I think that he's just proven that he's just a good football player. He's savvy, he's smart, has an awareness for the ball, and he plays the game the way it's supposed to be played.
We haven't talked in depth about special teams yet. Huge plays, obviously, special teams. Kickoff return, punt return. I could just picture you on the sideline, obviously, chasing after Tez Johnson. But talk about what it was like coming right at you, because you had to have seen at the angle you were on the field as a coach, see it open up, and he's coming right at you with the wall blocker. So
yeah, exciting. Yeah. I'd say it's pretty exciting whenever you see that happening. You have a good feeling that there's a chance for success. But what you guys need to do, and what everybody else in here needs to do, is go look at the exceptional effort of the people that weren't carrying the ball.
Made it possible.
And it's probably what I've come on here and said every single week. How do you play when you don't have the ball? We don't need anybody on the field that's buying a ticket, right? If you're stepping on the grass, go make an impact. And on that big kickoff return, on that punt return, you saw other people making an impact, whether it was Marion Winston or Devin Jackson or whoever that might be, Jaden Lamar, right? Talk about making an impact, right? Those guys did an unbelievable job of playing without the ball, and that's what created plays like that.
I want to go back and mention the defense and Jabbar Muhammad. We had him in here last week, graduating when he was 19. He was just a remarkable family, just a great guy. But what does he allow you to do defensively when he's kind of like one of those lockdown corners? Doesn't it give you more flexibility?
Yeah, and I think Jabbar is one of the best players I've ever been around about understanding his skill set, comfortability, and what the defense is trying to take. So he's a guy that has this tool belt of different techniques that he can use, and he understands when to use them. So really impressed with him. I think he's a pro in every sense of the word. He's fun to be around. He's a guy our players enjoy being around. As talented as he is as a player, he's a humble person, which I certainly appreciate. So a fun one to coach for sure.
You talked about Trent Bray, head coach at Oregon State. How about talking about the Beavers a little bit offensively and defensively? What do they bring to the table?
Yeah, they've done an unbelievable job rushing for 300 yards a game right now with their running game. Got some dynamic backs that have been really challenging, and then they've done a good job taking some shots down the field. Their quarterback is a guy that we really watched in a lot of prep for Idaho because he was at Idaho last year, and he's playing good ball. He's a threat with his feet, and he can throw the ball down the field. So they do a good job. And I still think, on the same note, they've maintained a lot of what their identity was in the past few years.
Well, I was going to ask you about Dillon Gabriel because Joey Mac's got him next, but you already talked about him, and so we'll find out from him.
He's fun.
He's got a great personality. So
you need to ask him about some recent news. Have you seen the recent news?
Oh, no, I have. We'll check. Okay, that'll be coming up. Joey, take some notes. All right. Coach, thanks again for your time.
Yeah,
love you coming in here.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys.
All right. It's our Pepsi Coaches interview brought to you by Pepsi on our Toyota Coaches show. I'm picking too fast. I'm as fast as you were going down the sideline following Tez on that punt return. That's fast. Here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear summer vacay, load up on fun in a new Toyota. Go off-road in the 4Runner, haul it all in the Tundra, play hard in the Tacoma, or take the scenic route in the all-new all-hybrid Camry. Visit Toyota.com for more info. Toyota, let's go places.
Wherever you are in life, once a duck, always a duck. That's OCCU. Since 1956, OCCU has helped the University of Oregon community take flight financially. Like our remarkable checking and duck debit card that give duck fans more for the things they care about. More for the game, more for gear, more for a bright future. Earn interest, show your duck devotion, and start earning more today. Learn more at myoccu.org/getduckdebit.
Dear summer vacay, load up on fun in a new Toyota. Go off-road in the 4Runner, haul it all in the Tundra, play hard in the Tacoma, or take the scenic route in the all-new all-hybrid Camry. Visit Toyota.com for more info. Toyota, let's go places.
Back to the Country Financial Studios in 60 seconds. This is Oregon football from Learfield.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Ma, is this how you feed a hamster?
I think so.
Is my homework right?
I think so.
Is, this milk still good?
I think so.
When it comes to parenting, sometimes it's okay to think you know. But when it's something as important as your child's car seat, don't just think. Know. Double check if your child is in the right seat for their age and size. It'll help protect them in a car crash. Don't just think. Know by visiting nhtsa.gov/the right seat. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, it's the Toyota Coaches Show. We heard from Dillon Gabriel actually earlier today. He had some things going on, so we talked with him earlier today. A three-part conversation with Duck quarterback Dillon Gabriel. This is a guy who's probably done no less than 200 interviews in your time. How many interviews have you done?
I'd go with the over on that one.
The over on that one?
Yeah.
Are we closer to 1,000? Like, am I undershooting this?
No, I don't think 1,000, but I mean, if you were to add and count like every single little interview, probably in the 800 range.
That's a lot of interviews. Dillon Gabriel is our guest, everybody. Okay, so I said just a moment ago, because we're recording, since you have a very busy schedule and important appointments at night, which means we're recording in the afternoon. So I want you to start here. What's your day like on an average Wednesday as a student athlete right now? No classes yet, but still a lot going on.
Well, luckily, even with classes, I'm all online, so I'm facility driven. Really easy point A to point B, but I wake up around like 5:30, brush my teeth. I kind of got a routine down, so I can be in and out of the house in like 10 to 15 minutes.
That's pretty good.
So I'll be out by 5:45, get in the facility by 6.
Efficient.
And sometimes, when you're tired, you like to just sit in the car for a little bit, play some music. So start in the facility at like 6 a.m. I'll do my stretch. And you got to have your, kind of routine in the facility because you got to move efficiently, right?
Yeah.
So I'll stretch in the locker room, get all my pads ready. Then I'll grab my stuff. Breakfast is at 6:30. So that's when my timer is like to get up to the QB room at 6:30.
Right.
Drop all my stuff off.
Right.
And then I'll go down to breakfast. After I get breakfast, I'll go straight to the training room.
Okay.
Bring my iPad, look things over. Kind of get stretched, tape, the whole 9. 7:30 is like team meeting. We'll have meetings up until really 9:15. We'll have practice from 9:15 to
noon or so.
I don't know. I don't want to get us in trouble, but whatever time, let's say noon. And then after then I'll do, some arm care.
Well, and I should say too, I've experienced this. Like sometimes some of you are doing extra work after practice.
Yeah.
I mean, it just depends on the day.
Exactly.
Right?
So I'll do my arm care. I'll do, if we have a lift or some core, and then I'll usually be done by like 1:32. Then I'll go get like in the cold tub, hot tub. while I'm all sweaty, whatever. Then I'll shower, head up to the film room, watch practice, watch, extra cut-ups. And then at like 3:30, we'll have our QB meeting. And then we'll be done around 4:35. Then I'll just finish up some tune-up watches, be home by around 6, grab dinner.
Now, somebody actually asked me this to ask you, and this seems like a good follow-up question. Now that you've experienced Autzen Stadium as a student athlete, that's part one. But what about your family, friends that have experienced Autzen Stadium now? Like, what was it like for them in the first 2 games experiencing that?
I love that you said that, because I think I get a lot of opinions of different places we play or have played. But I think they loved it. I think you get a bunch of different experiences, and that's away games as well.
Right.
And, of course, it's hostile environments, and fans don't always have the nicest things to say.
You don't say.
Which is totally fine. But, I think, just for Oregon fans, I think it's special, and I say this because I've been around other fans and fan bases, and, having a fan base that loves you for who you are or are encouraging. You play in those close games against opponents, and fans can react. But I still felt like even through those moments, we had fans that were still supporting and cheering us on, and I didn't necessarily hear the heckling and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's a great feeling as a player, and I feel like, maybe it is talked about, but I don't feel like it's talked about enough that we have great support, and I guess that's to speak on my family as well. They've enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think that a lot of fans here, I'm sure tonight, appreciate hearing that from you, especially because you're on the precipice of playing in some of the most college football games ever. Like you're smirking as I say this.
Yeah.
Like you've been through it in your career, right?
Yeah.
I mean, have you thought about that? Like, can you encapsulate what it's meant to be a student athlete, especially with the journey that you've been on?
Yeah, I think there's just so many lessons, and I think at a young age, I learned to deal with it, and I wasn't necessarily the best dealing with it early on. But as I've gotten older, I really just don't care now, and I understand, I guess, the full picture of it, right? The media's got a job of promoting and creating the buzz and creating these big time environments, and fans want to see their team win, so. You got to understand that, and I think it takes experience to do so. But that's just allowed me to be more, comfortable and confident within, any atmosphere or whatever anyone says, because it's just funny now that you're able to, kind of have that perspective.
And to that point, I often ask this to veterans. Mm-hmm. What advice would you give your 17-year-old self? Maybe it's similar to what we were just talking about.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. I don't think I could even say anything that would make him, change his mind about anything, because I think in life we always get information from people.
Sure.
And they tell you the answers, and for some reason you don't listen until you learn your lesson.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. And I guess my best word of advice would be to just take everything with a grain of salt. It's the good's never as good as it seems, and the bad is never as bad as it seems, and just having that mindset of being kind of the calm in the storm and that cool, calm, and collected. I think it allows you to, maximize the moment, whether it's a big third down, in the red zone, and it's very loud. 2-minute drives to win games. I think that's all things that, I've gotten better because of experience, not necessarily anything anyone could have said.
It's also easier said than done, right? I mean,
that too.
You have to learn from the experience in your own way. That's got to be a difficult thing to do. We continue with Duck quarterback Dillon Gabriel. Okay, so I know have said this before, that you had some dreams of playing at Oregon. Now you've worn that number 8 on your back. Those sorts of things. Has it been everything that you thought it would be? Has anything surprised you about being here, playing for this university, and going through what you've gone through so far this season?
It's so hard because I feel like from January, I was always playing catch up.
Yeah, sure.
And always trying to be ahead, right? And you kind of get lost in time, which honestly has been good as well, because I'm the type of guy that I want to look back when I'm done and enjoy everything. when I'm in it, trust me, I enjoy every second of it. The preparation, the grind, the lessons, the ups, the downs. I think all of that is something I enjoy, but I don't know. I feel like in terms of being able to sit back and see everything, I think that'll be something I'll, truly enjoy once I'm done playing ball. And I think that is probably the best way to do so as well.
Yeah. Quick time out on the Toyota Coaches Show. Quarterback Dillon Gabriel with us in the Country Financial Studio. More coming on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, On Point is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways On Point can help support your financial well-being. On Point Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Wherever you are in life, once a duck, always a duck. That's OCCU. Since 1956, OCCU has helped the University of Oregon community take flight financially, like our remarkable checking and duck debit card that give duck fans more for the things they care about, more for the game, more for gear, more for a bright future. Earn interest, show your duck devotion, and start earning more today. Learn more at myoccu.org/getduckdebit.
The Oregon Football Coaches Show continues from the Country Financial Studios in 1 minute on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive high.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
We continue on the Toyota Coaches Show. Earlier today, I sat down with Duck quarterback Dillon Gabriel. We'll talk about that news here coming up. Oregon quarterback Dillon Gabriel, part 2 of our chat here on the Toyota Coaches Show. Last week, Jabbar Muhammad had maybe the greatest answer to this question that we've ever heard. So when you're done playing after 20 years, you've made millions, you loved it, what are you going to do when you're done?
I wish I had the answer. In a perfect world, though, gosh, I'd probably go back home and get a, nice little beach house and, have the kids with, maybe a couple dogs and obviously my wife or future wife, and just enjoy life. I think the little things I've begun to enjoy even more as well.
Sure.
As you spend so much time away from, people you love. I think, that kind of thing. I think as much time as I can spend around my family, whether it's family dinners, family vacations, those sort of things. I think if I can, let's say like 6 times a year, 7 times a year, I think the more I can do that, I think that's the happiest I'll be.
It's funny. You said basically the same thing that Jabbar did. The way Jabbar put it was, I just want to get fat and relax. So there you go.
Jabbar will never get fat. So that's if we come back in like 20, 30 years and Jabbar's fat, then. But I don't that dude. Yeah, I don't think he'll get fat.
I could see it. Now you go against that defense all the time.
Yep.
What's your assessment of Oregon's defense here right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've always known this, but just the talent and the competitiveness on that side of the football. I think when you go good on good and you have that level of play on the football field on practice or in practice. It's special. I think here and there I've been a part of it. Like certain matchups within a practice that everyone's looking forward to.
Right.
Whether that was at UCF with Gabe Davis and not Mike Hughes, but like another corner that and you look at certain matchups that people would look forward to. I think now you see more of them, and that's why it's been fun. Like just on the field, every time you run out there, it's like you got to be on your P's and Q's.
Right.
But that also makes the moment, a lot more fun.
Yeah, I think it's amazing to think about, like, iron sharpens iron, right? And you hear this phrase all the time around sports, not just college football, but it really is a big deal, isn't it? I mean, practice, you guys are at practice way more than you're at a game. Just can you encapsulate for fans how valuable that is and maybe put into words like why having a good practice is such an important thing?
Yeah, well, I think people know this, but like you only get 30 practices,
right?
At least on paper,
right?
Before a season, 15 in the spring, 15 fall camp. So like if you think about 30 practices, and like football is a developmental sport, like you have to maximize those 30 practices. That's a month out of 8 months of you having the time to do walkthroughs, lift, run, condition, like the whole nine. But you probably get like 40 reps of team reps within 30 practices. So how many reps are you really getting? And that's why, like, I mean, obviously me, playing as a freshman and the reps I got, from then to now, but there's still so much more to clean up and, day to day, but you can only imagine, a guy coming in as a freshman. So there's a lot of things that, you have to maximize in a 2-hour, 3-hour period during the day that, could be the difference.
I got to ask you about the van. Tell us the entire story of the van, and I'm happy to report that I think that your message got through, that the fans want more van content.
It did?
I hope so, yeah.
Well, the van will be, part of my Oregon story for sure. So it'll be around more.
I love it.
To best describe it, I'll give you the before story, and then I'll show you the representation.
Okay, I like it.
So in the beginning, I wanted to get a car that obviously has a lot of space to just bring people around.
Right.
And that's like, it's like little things. I just always wanted the space just in case. If I had a 2-seater, then I couldn't be like, yo, bro, just hop in, let's go, And that's in any situation. I don't know if that situation would ever come up, but I wanted to be ready.
Yeah, there you go.
So I was like, I needed to have like a 7-seater or even an 8-seater, right? Yeah. And, I told them, hey, I want a van, and when that happened, I remember having that phone call, and they're like, what do you want? And I'm like, can I just get, a minivan to just roll around? It's, insurance is cheap, right? Like, I don't want to be spending a bunch of money. Like,
such a veteran. Such a veteran.
And I'm like, is it possible? And they're like, yeah, I've never had this request, right?
I love this.
So, shout out to Michael De La Grange and the De La Grange family with the, the Oregon Alumni Foundation. They've, helped make this happen. But when we got it, and I remember I received it, and it was just like probably the funniest thing. Dude, I never knew a car would bother people. You know what I mean? I'm like, what? Like, it's a laugh, it's a smile.
You
and
made
it's
a practical choice.
Yes.
You did.
But then the representation is, right? I'm not too good for anyone. I'm not flashy.
Yep.
I'm efficient, right? A new guy coming into a new school, like, I'm not going to pull up in my Lamb truck or my Benz that obviously I wouldn't be paying, you know what I'm saying? Like, can't pay for, like, in anyone's right mind, right? Like, I wasn't going to be the guy flexing in front of a Lambo, even though I've done that before.
Right.
I got excited. But, I just feel like it's efficient, easy. It can hold a lot. If I need to throw things in the, you know what I mean? It's easy. And then when my family comes in town, I got enough space.
Right. You got the vehicle.
Because I can't drive to the games. I'm on a bus. Right. So it serves many purposes as well.
I think that's again, I say this a lot tonight, this is a veteran move
yes.
by you. Your O-line, I'm sure, appreciated the space in the van.
Yeah, Not enough, though.
Yeah, well.
We might have needed a school bus for those guys.
That's where you get the team bus
exactly.
for the O-line. Dillon Gabriel, Oregon quarterback with us. Toyota Coaches Show continues. More with the Duck QB heading into Rivalry Week. 12:30 coming up this weekend in Corvallis. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear summer vacay, load up on fun in a new Toyota. Go off-road in the 4Runner, haul it all in the Tundra, play hard in the Tacoma, or take the scenic route in the all-new all-hybrid Camry. Visit Toyota.com for more info. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, On Point is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways On Point can help support your financial well-being. On Point Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear summer vacay, load up on fun in a new Toyota. Go off-road in the 4Runner, haul it all in the Tundra, play hard in the Tacoma, or take the scenic route in the all-new all-hybrid Camry. Visit Toyota.com for more info. Toyota, let's go places.
Go Ducks!
It's made, turn, don't deny me the end zone. Touchdown, Oregon.
This is Oregon football from Learfield.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
We're talking with Dillon Gabriel. It is the Toyota Coaches Show here in the Country Financial Studio, our final part of our conversation with the Duck quarterback heading into the 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. I feel like you really came in and embraced like the camaraderie vibe of your role as a leader, the position that you play. Like, you know, that had to go through your mind, and it sounds like it did, that you wanted to have that culture that you came into and helped build.
For sure. I just didn't want to be presidential. You know, it's not who I am. I'm a big believer in relationships and friendships and, you know, that trust. And I've never been a fan of guys who, you know, were greater than the team. And not saying I've been a part of that, but I think you see it around the country. And nobody in specific, I'm just saying. But that's just not how I roll. Mm-hmm. You know, I want them to feel like they can come talk to me about anything, you know. And that's nothing too big, nothing too small that, you know, I can help with.
Yeah.
And you know, I think that, like I said, could be a representation of you know, how I wanted to go about, you know, coming in.
Well, I want to tell a quick story that I hope that you'll appreciate here tonight. So, you know, I was there on photo day,
mm-hmm.
and of course the van made a tremendous appearance.
It did.
on photo day. And so if I could tell the story, Dillon gets up in front of the team, and of course you had the deal with beats, and then what do? You give your entire team beats. I mean, that had to feel pretty good. That had to be a pretty cool experience for you to go through.
It was. I think those are the best NIL deals, you know, when you're able to bring, you know, teammates a part of it, or, you know, be able to gift them things that, you know, like, I think those are like small tokens that go a long way, you know, and something like, hey, don't even think about your headphones this year. Like, you got some. Or you got an extra, you know, because you know how guys like to switch it out. So, and then also, you know, like there's things that, and I'm not trying to say anything, but you know, there's things that people don't see of, like, I also get to give to, you know, people who help me out, you know, like equipment managers that, you know, work their butt off, or like, you know, our guy Mark, who, cleans up our locker room every day. Like, just little things like that. I have leftover, beats that I can be like, hey, yo, bro, like, appreciate you.
Pretty cool.
So I think that kind of stuff is the best way to, bring everyone together.
I agree with you, and I feel like in the world that we're in now of college athletics, I mean, NIL is a big part of it.
It is.
This is a cool piece.
It is.
I hope that that's an influencing story, I guess, for people that follow, hopefully, in your footsteps.
For sure.
I mean, you're kind of on the foreground of this whole NIL thing. How's it gone so far?
I'm a NIL baby, transfer portal baby, COVID baby.
Yep.
Pre-NIL baby.
Yeah.
So I kind of got a taste of everything. But I've just been able to roll with the punches, and I think like coaches or like players, they're trying to use these certain things to their advantage, rightfully so. And, you just kind of learn,
No
I
doubt.
don't think there's a right way to do anything. I think there's just your way.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a bit of a baseball-influenced question here. Okay, so there's the old adage in baseball that you want to be a lefty.
Yep.
You want to be a lefty because you're a little bit different. Ball looks different from that side. You hit from the other side.
Yep.
You don't hear as much about an advantage about it in football, but I feel like it can be an advantage, right? Teams aren't used to seeing a lefty as often.
Hopefully you tell QB coaches in the NFL that.
Yeah, I will.
Or
QB coaches.
Or even around the country, right?
Yeah. So, in all seriousness, though, I figured that would be the case. Like, that had to be a bit of an obstacle for you growing up being a lefty.
Well, growing up, baseball was the thing, honestly.
Yeah.
Like pitching and.
You probably had good tail on the fastball.
Oh, dude. 2-seam, 4-seam, curve, little circle change.
See? 4-pitch mix.
I did a little splitter when I was young, though.
Yeah. That messes up the elbow.
I love that you said that. So, funny enough, when I think I was 11, and it was like going into All-Star season for Little League.
Yeah.
My elbow, like I remember pitching, and I'm like, I'm hitting it, and just the miles per hour you see like keeps dropping. And they're like, come on, dude, you good? I'm like, my elbow's sore. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
These dudes hit like 2 homers back to back, and I'm like, dude, you got to take me out. But my growth plate was off of my elbow.
Really?
So I ended up, because I was hitting well in Little League, I ended up going in the outfield with right hand. I could throw baseball right-handed.
No kidding.
Probably, I could get it from at least around that time from the warning track to third base.
Wow.
Ambidextrous. So that's kind of a little story, but weird thing, it never hurt when I played football.
Huh, different motion.
I could throw a football, but any time I threw a baseball, it was just like, so the pitching was, I thought was in my cards, but now it's not.
Well, then worked out for you, didn't it?
Worked out, right?
Yeah, worked out.
Hopefully.
Is it an obstacle, though? Like you kind of joke tongue-in-cheek about like NFL scouts. It sounds like it kind of can be, I guess.
I think more than anything, I don't know yet.
It's
obviously.
Just different. Yeah.
It is different, but, in high school when I was going to college, like there'd be QB coaches that, I just would know that didn't want a lefty quarterback. But I think now more than ever, they don't care. They just want to win and find a QB that can do it. So
find a way to win.
I'm hoping it is. I'm hoping it's an advantage in any way if it's different looking at a lefty quarterback than a righty one.
Well, it makes the scouting report a little bit different, I think.
I hope so.
There's no doubt about that. All right. Lastly, Oregon State rivalry. Keys to success. What's it going to take to get a win on Saturday?
Yeah, we're gonna have to run the ball really well. I think explosive plays is another thing, and then you just look at executing at a high level, and that goes with no negative plays, no penalties, at least pre-snap, and being really smart in those situations and executing. So I think there's things that a lot of correctable things that we've continued to look at this week, but most importantly, Civil War is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Dillon Gabriel, Oregon quarterback. Hey, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
We sure appreciate it.
Thank you.
Best of luck the rest of the way.
Yes, sir.
That was really cool catching up with Dillon Gabriel. So the news today, Dillon Gabriel, congratulations are in order. He announced that he is now engaged. Congratulations, Dillon. That's awesome. And when we come back, previewing the matchup with the Beavs. 12:30, Rivalry Week. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Comes to a gun suicide attempt, all it takes is a moment.
Heather and I had an argument just like any other couple. I was lost. I had snapped. I had a gun and I was going to take my own life. Heather helped me realize that there was still a life to live. for the better of myself, my family. My weapon is now safely put away.
A moment of crisis can happen to anyone. Store your guns, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo. Hear more safe stories at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
You say you'd never give in to a meltdown and never fill your feed with kid photos. You say you'd never put a pacifier in your mouth to clean it and never let them run wild through the grocery store. So when you say you'd never let them get into a car without you there, no, it can happen. 1 in 4 hot car deaths happen when a kid gets into an unlocked car and can't get out. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
I'm a pretty great multitasker. I can wash dishes and do laundry. I can roller skate while walking my dog. I can even order lunch while doing my homework. But I can't use my phone while driving. A distracted driver is one of the leading causes of death in the United States. So when it comes to driving, please, don't be a multitasker.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
What a great way to come back to the show. Here in our Country Financial studio, all three of us back together again, getting ready for some post-turkey football.
When I heard on Monday, when Brian Michalowski was like, feels like Thanksgiving, I was like, yeah, it kind of, I get it.
Rain's here
today.
The weather, yeah.
I just immediately, I knew exactly what he was saying, and I thought, yeah, it is different. You know, like I was talking to Mike Parker today, voice of the Beavs, and he was like, yeah, all these stats of like, they've never really played each other when they're undefeated. Well,
that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, because it's usually at the end of the year, it's hard for both teams to be undefeated. Still, it's Oregon.
Somebody dropped a stat on me today I got to look up. They played once when they weren't in the same conference. Oregon was an independent back in the day, and Oregon State was, I think, a part of the Pacific Coast Conference, one of those. It was a long time ago.
There
had to have been a while.
There's been 127 of them, so some things change.
Yeah. They probably feel the same up in Washington, too, with the Cougs and the Huskies coming together.
One thing that hasn't changed, I was talking to somebody in Alabama this week, actually, and he said, it's okay to still call it the Civil War, isn't it? And I said, no, we don't call it Civil War anymore. So outside of the state of Oregon, a lot of people still look at the Oregon State game as that.
I was on with our friends from SiriusXM, and it's two of the guys that do games for Michigan State, and they asked me the same question.
Yeah. All right, keys to the game coming up. I mean, it's almost too early in the season to really know what each team has and what they don't have, Jorgen.
Yeah, I mean, I think the identity, frankly, of Oregon State is there, and it always has been there and will continue to be there. I mean, run the ball, that's exactly what they do a great job of, and play great defense. But, you know, both these teams can't afford to get behind the chains on first down. So for me, first down yards for both teams is going to be a really big key in this game.
Joey, what do you expect?
I always think a quick start is important, especially when you're on the road in a rivalry environment, and I expect a fired-up Beaver crowd when we're up there. And then I would say the middle eight. I think that the middle eight continues to be really critical for this Oregon team, and that's offensively and defensively a real focus. You know, I think you got to finish the half strong. You got to start the half strong.
This is going to feel like the last regular season game when both teams had something on the line. Both really aggravated with the way they played, or that they're playing against a team that they felt like left them. I mean, it's going to be a really interesting.
It's
going to be a physical ball game, and it's a packed house. So, get you on the air at 10:30. Let's do a pregame show and kick it off around 12:30. Thanks for being with us. Bye bye. God bless.
This has been the Oregon Football Coaches Show on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield. Presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Tonight's show has also been brought to you by Country Financial Insurance. Protect what matters. And by Pepsi and Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks. Drink Pepsi. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.